Okay, fresh hay is the staple of any rabbit's diet, so what you want to do is make sure that they're getting fresh hay. And then you're also going to want to make sure that they have fresh water, that their water bowl is not soiled, and that they get fresh pellets. Now when you look on the instructions for the food, what you're going to see is an AM feeding schedule and a PM feeding schedule. Then you're going to see a number 1, number 2, this stands for Bunny Basics Timothy, Purina High Fiber, and Exact. If you look then on the feeding bins that we have, there's number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then this would be the Exact, which we give as a treat. The instructions will tell you for each rabbit what to give in the morning, how much the ration sizes are. And here's another example of 3/4 cup for both bunnies and split in between the 2 bowls. There's a second area where we have food, which is here where we prepare the litter boxes. Again, you have number 1, number 3, number 2, and then there's number 4, which is the Exact. And then there's measuring cups up here that you can take with you. You can also fill up this bin to take with you and carry this back and forth between the bunny cages to feed them. But notice that we do not want to leave any bags of food open or any drawers open, just to make sure that we don't have a problem with pests in the bunny. So make sure that you close all the drawers, and you would empty this bag if you decide to use it at the end of the day. Bunnies only get greens for the evening feeding, and we'll show you in a bit how many greens to give appropriate to each bunny. Make sure you look at the instructions and make sure that they can eat rabbit greens and that it's not restricted from their diet for some reason. Here at the shelter, we like to feed a variety of greens to the bunnies. We just give greens in the evening, not during the morning feedings. We'll feed a variety that can include things like parsley, romaine lettuce, a little bit of collard greens, kale, spinach. This is an example of a collard green here, and if you have a bunny that's having any problems with stasis or gas or bloat, you do not want to feed them collards or broccoli. You also don't want to give both collards and broccoli in the same day or the same feeding. Also, this is a full-size collard green, but that would be way too much for a single rabbit. You usually just want to give a little piece of collard green if you give any at all. Now, how we wash the greens, and we give about 1 to 2 cups per rabbit, is you'll simply take it, and I've got a sink here full of water. You'll basically rinse them off in the water just to get any dirt or soil off or any of the vegetable matter that's no longer good. And we'll put them into the colander. And then we have an all-natural produce spray that's comprised of 2 cups of 2 cups of vinegar, 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 2 tablespoons of baking soda that we use to remove pesticides from off of produce. Of the 12 most contaminated fruits and vegetables according to the USDA, 9 of those are the fruits and vegetables that we commonly feed to rabbits. So removing pesticides from off of produce is important, especially because most pesticides are designed to still adhere to the plant material when it rains. So just using water alone will not remove pesticides. So after you've done the first rinsing, what you can do is just basically spray them real good, and then we just do a rinse. And there you go. Fresh greens that's ready to be fed to the bunnies. Okay, here you see a nice big bowl of greens that we have to feed the bunnies at the shelter. If we're completely full, a large bowl like this should feed about all the rabbits in the shelter. What we do is, again, we give about 1 to 2 cups of greens per rabbit. And you want to give them a mixture or a variety. There we go. So about this much here. And here we go, giving it to the bunny. One of the things that we try and do is give the bunnies an opportunity to exercise out in the hallway area. So we take turns in the evenings and after the morning caretaker to let them have some run time here in the hallway. What you're going to want to do is look for the sign that says exercise next versus currently exercising. You're going to want to move the signs down to the next bunny. So I'm going to move the currently exercising here, and I will move the exercise next onto the next cage over. One thing that's important is if the rabbit has any instructions for medication that they're receiving, not eye drops, but if they're on any of the antibiotic medications, then we do not let them come out into the common area to exercise to make sure that there's no chance of giving infections to the other bunnies. One of the final things to do each day is make sure that you go into each of the cage areas and make sure that they're secured and that none of the cage spaces is open in the hallway when you let the one bunny out to exercise, otherwise you could have a fight. And for this setup, what we do is take the clip and lock it at the bottom, and then take another clip and lock it at the next clip up. You do not need to overlap the cages, you simply lock them there. And for the other cage, one clip. Make sure that you've got the pen clipped well with the clip, the plastic clip there, and then you'll have another clip that will go up top. One of the things with this cage is make sure that you don't overlap it here in this area. That can actually pull on the gate and let the other bunny out. Just simply have it open like that for them to run an exercise. And you'll see our little barrier tester over on the other side. One other important thing is please make sure all the doors are shut and locked. This includes the door in the boarding area, the door up by the refrigerators, and the front door when you go to leave. For the evening shift, down in the boarding area, we also like to leave a little bit of light on for the bunnies. If you want to turn the light on that's immediately over the sink area, that's enough to give the bunnies a little bit of light to run around with at night. And finally, when you leave, if you're the evening shift, what you want to do is again leave a little bit of light on for the bunnies. Go ahead and turn off all the lights except for the second switch. That leaves a little bit of light there into the sink area. It gives a little bit of light for the bunnies to be able to run around at night. Finally, if you're the last one to leave at night, you want to make sure that the front door is locked. In the center of the front door, there's a little lock button. Push that, and the door will lock.